Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. Me, 24 female, and my husband, 27 male, found last week a GPS, microphone, etc. in my car. When I turned 18, my dad gave me a car as a gift. It was basic, but I was grateful. I thought it was his way of showing support as I started my adult life. But over the years, things never felt right. He always seemed to know where I was, who I was with, or even what I was talking about. And a lot of the times my car wouldn't start. He always said the battery was dead, I suspected. Now I know it was him turning the car off remotely through his phone. My gut always told me something was off, but every time I brought it up, he denied everything and made me feel paranoid. Now, last week, my husband and I finally found a GPS, a microphone, and even a small camera hidden inside the car. When my husband started removing them, my dad instantly shut it off the car remotely. That's when it hit me. He had been watching and listening this entire time. I can't describe how disgusting and violated I feel. This wasn't love or protection. It was control, manipulation, and obsession. And worst of all, the car is not even in my name yet. It's still in his name. I don't even know where to start, legally, emotionally, or spiritually. Has anyone ever gone through something like this? What did you do after realizing someone you trusted was invading your privacy like this? Wow, I'm so sorry. That's not just overprotective behavior. That's a complete invasion of OP's privacy. I can't imagine how violating it must feel to realize someone who was supposed to love and support you was watching your life like a movie. OP is not overreacting. Anyone would feel shaken by this. I hope OP has people around her who can support her while she figures out her next steps, because this is a lot to process emotionally. And now let's hear community's opinion. Your instincts were right this whole time, and I'm glad your husband helped you uncover the truth. The car shutting off the second the devices were removed really says everything. I know this must be incredibly painful. It's one thing to have disagreements with a parent, but to learn they've been monitoring you like this is something else entirely. Please make sure you take care of your mental health through this. It's trauma, even if we don't always call it that. I'm so upset on your behalf. You deserve trust, freedom, and room to grow, not to be treated like someone's possession. It sounds like your father never saw you as an adult with her own life, just someone he wanted control over. That realization hurts deeply. I hope you give yourself permission to feel all of that, the anger, the confusion, the sadness. None of this is your fault. I just want to say, you are incredibly strong. Many people would have continued doubting themselves when their concerns were dismissed. The fact that you listen to your own intuition is huge. I know it probably feels overwhelming, but you're finally stepping into your own space and your own power. Lean on your husband and on anyone you trust. You don't have to deal with this alone. Update. Hi again. Quick update because a lot happened fast. After we found the GPS mic and camera in my car last week, I decided I needed to hear it from my dad's mouth. I called him and then went over with my husband. I calmly laid out exactly what we found and told him the car shut off the second we started pulling things out. He went stone cold and immediately denied everything. Then he pivoted and tried to pin it on my husband. Said he must have planted it. When I pointed out the engine kill happened while my dad was on the phone with me, he shrugged and said, "Modern cars glitch." That was my line. I left before the conversation got uglier. The next morning, I went to the police and filed a report for unlawful electronic surveillance, stalking. They called it different terms for our state, but it covers tracking, recording without consent. I handed over the devices, photos, and screenshots showing the exact time the car was disabled. They took statements from both me and my husband and gave me a case number. They also told me to stop using the car until they're done, since it's still titled in my dad's name and could be remotely accessed again. I did text my dad, kept it short and factual, saying all communication should go through my lawyer from now on. He replied once, doubling down that it wasn't him, and that my husband is manipulating me. I did not engage. Emotionally, I'm a mess, angry, grossed out, and weirdly grieving the dad I thought I had. But reading your comments helped me realize this isn't protective. It's controlling and dangerous. I'm choosing safety and boundaries over keeping the peace. Update 2. My father texted me today, and the police investigation is moving forward. I wasn't planning to post again this soon, but something happened this morning that I think is worth mentioning. My father texted me. The message was short and honestly pretty disturbing. He wrote, "I am disgusted with you. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me. You should be ashamed. It's honestly surreal. It's like he's furious that I dared to notice what he was doing." I didn't reply. I won't. My lawyer told me not to respond anyway, and to save every message. So I took screenshots and forwarded them straight to her. I also found out from my lawyer that depending on how the investigation unfolds, I might be able to file for a protective order, even though we aren't living together and don't have a direct domestic violence situation. Electronic stalking falls under threat to safety in my state. Emotionally, this is heavy. Seeing that text made everything real in a different way. He is angry that he lost control. That's what this was always about. I know some relatives are going to reach out soon, because he will definitely spin this into, "My ungrateful daughter is ruining my life." I'm preparing myself to block numbers I never wanted to block. But right now, I am choosing safety, boundaries, and truth. Thank you for the support. I cannot explain how much it helps to not feel insane in this. Update 3. I'm honestly still processing all of this, so bear with me. The case did go to court, and things unfolded in a way I truly did not see coming. When the investigation continued, the police pulled technical records linked to the remote shutoff system, and what they found pointed to my husband's device, not my father's. I confronted my husband, and he didn't even try to deny it. He cried, he begged, he told me he did it to protect me and keep me safe. I don't know if he believes that, or if it's just what controlling people tell themselves so they can sleep at night. I walked out of our home that night and went to stay with a friend. As for my father, he doesn't talk to me now. He said he can't believe I don't trust him and accused him of such a horrible thing, and he needs time to forgive me. I have already filed for divorce. My lawyer says it should be straightforward, since we don't have kids and finances were fairly separate. I haven't spoken to him since the day I left. I don't know what my relationship with my father will look like going forward. Maybe we will talk one day. Maybe we won't. I'm giving him time he has asked. Right now, I am staying with a friend, going to therapy, and trying to learn how to live in a world where privacy and safety are things I am allowed to have. Thank you to everyone who listened. This isn't the ending I expected. My ex-wife and I have 2 kids together, now 22 and 26. We divorced when the youngest was about 7. I paid every child support plus alimony payment required of me. My ex-wife and I have been on relatively good terms and share almost all the same friends. One friend, Janice, we both knew since college and was basically an aunt to our kids. She passed away from melanoma skin cancer. Her health deteriorated rapidly. Before her death, she asked me to come visit her. She confessed that my ex-wife, her best friend, had confided in her that my oldest child was not mine. She bawled her eyes out asking for forgiveness for not telling me sooner. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't angry she kept it from me, but better late than never, and I just wanted to give her whatever comfort I could. Anyway, since then, I've taken my ex-wife to court for paternity fraud. I basically just went to a lawyer, explained the situation, and asked him to do whatever he could. I've already had an official paternity test done and verified he's not my biological son. I still love my kids unconditionally, and I'll take a bullet for either of them without hesitation. This is not about them. It's about my ex-wife knowingly defrauding me out of thousands of dollars. I don't think I can let that slide. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but this is going to create a predicament for your kids, especially the oldest. I'm not sure how your son will feel knowing you want a refund for the financial support you've given him over the years. I might even say everyone sucks here if you drop this on him, so you could get a paternity test, but her more than you. I can't sit here and give you a judgment because 1. You found out that a kid you raised as your own was the result of an affair. 2. You paid to your ex-wife money for said child while she kept it hidden. 3. You said you'd take a bullet for your kids. You might not be the dad, but you are the dad. I get it. She swindled you out of years of money. It sucks. And I can't say, cause this outcome, I do not know the blowback. But OP, make sure you make the right choice. Not the a-hole. Not at all. Your kids are already grown adults too. Not small kids who get confused about everything that happens between adults. While the kids in question will definitely not like this, he or she is not a teenager. Kid is old enough to see you have been majorly slighted here and will probably feel sympathy for you, and unlike an angsty, confused teen, won't hate you for this. So, yeah, your kids are no longer little kids. They no longer need to be coddled. If your kid will feel harmed by this, it's not because of you. It's because of her mother. She is the perp. She created the situation. The blame and consequences lie with her. My sister's, 38 female, husband, 33, died in a car accident early last year. It was unexpected. He didn't have life insurance and they just had redone the house, so savings were low. They had a fabulous life, but tragedy struck before they could rebuild their savings and set up solid investment portfolios or something of that nature. I don't know anything about investments. My sister receives SSA aids and other benefits mainly due to my nephew, 4, but they stop once he's an adult, and it's far from what she's used to living off. I've, 30 male, been doing weekly childcare and helping financially since. I was clear about the money being short-term, ending December 2020, but now she wants more time and a larger amount. She hasn't found a job in her degrees field, and she's not settling for minimum wage. She's never worked. She's a homemaker, which she's great at, but she's become a bit out of touch with the working world in my opinion, and very entitled to others' money. First, I was generous, as her life was upended. Now, I'm just vexed that I gave it. This extra cash not included in the monthly funds I wire her. I said I would continue helping her out financially for another 6 months, as long as she got a job, any job, before end of 2020. She didn't like that at all. I'm probably an a-hole because I believe that an ultimatum may be the only way to get her back into the workforce. She has not been open to any kind of seminar or help to get back on track. It's been well over a year and a half since her husband passed. My parents and I are now fully supporting her to our own savings detriment. She isn't willing to sell her house and get something cheaper, or rent out the extra rooms or guest house for income. My sister has called me financially aggressive, controlling, and overbearing, selfishly punishing her for being a stay-at-home mom and having no compassion or mercy many times now. There's usually a ungrateful to spend quality time with nephew since you're OP, unable to have your own. I'm tired. I know we have a strained history, but yeesh. I have my own project stalled, and this whole thing isn't fair to my girlfriend. I need to get my sister independent and set up correctly as soon as possible, so I can get back on track and my parents off the hook. I'm not punishing my sister for her life choices, but I've been patient, and she's not gotten with the program. So now it's time to get a random job, plus extra cash for savings from me, or be cut off. I may be the a-hole for the ultimatum, but I feel like my sister is being a huge, irresponsible a-hole too, though, even if it's not as bad as me cutting her off financially. She's not going to get anything from her in-laws but a college fund and trust fund set up for nephew. They don't think highly of her being a stay-at-home wife since 23, and they've never hidden it. They probably think it's karmic retribution or something. Edited to add, stay-at-home housewife since 23, but her late husband wasn't her first husband. She met late husband when she was like 30 and moved in with him during the separation and divorced from her first husband. Yes, the in-laws have money, and late husband has always demonstrated some level of irresponsibility, impulsiveness, and perhaps some Peter Pan syndrome type thing going on. That's why the in-laws bought the house in the first place, for their grandchild's security. No savings were even set aside for my nephew until they set up the funds, and fully control them. I have no idea how he didn't have life insurance. I didn't think it really possible, to be honest, but I don't know how things are set up for him. Maybe he simply thought he didn't need one given his family situation. He was a bit of a classist snob in my opinion, but I didn't know they didn't have it until after his death, So I didn't ask many questions because it was moot by that point, and she didn't have answers to questions I did ask. I won't be giving her money past this year, won't be cold and let her starve, but I'm going to have to push her till she faces her situation and decides on an option we've arranged for her. Your sister sounds ungrateful and entitled. You were wonderful, helping her that way, but it has only served to feed the idea that your money is her money. Cut her off, move on with your projects, and don't feel like an a-hole because you are not. Not the a-hole. With the loss of her husband, her ability to be a stay-at-home parent disappeared. She needs to step up now. Some people never learn until they hit rock bottom. So, your sister and her husband lived above their means, with a big house, no savings, and no life insurance. It is sad he died, but they never secured their own future. She has a degree but never worked and still refuses to work. Now you and your parents are enabling her. It is time she learned to stand on her own, live within her means, and plan for her future. She also has a trust fund, college fund for her child, so doesn't need to worry about that, which is something 99% of people don't have. You are not the a-hole, but she is. My 23 sister, Danny, 30 female, was a widow when she met her current husband, John, 33 male. My late brother-in-law was a wonderful guy, and his sudden death, car accident, devastated everyone in the family, including Danny, and she was never the same. Danny and John have 3 children, 5 male, 3 male, and 1 male, and she is pregnant with her 4th, my first niece. Since the birth of the first one, Danny has been stay-at-home mom, while John works around the clock. Keep in mind that my sister used to work at a big company as a manager and gave up a great salary to stay at home, while John makes less than half of it. I was unemployed because of the virus, and my sister offered the job of babysitting my nephews, and she was paying with the insurance money she received from her husband's passed away, because John didn't want and can't disperse that money. Well, Friday was my payday, and I was making dinner for my nephews. When I was done, I went to where Danny was and remembered what day it was, and John heard what I said. He was close to us and answered for her, saying, "I was talking to Danny. I will be responsible for all the finances of the house, including this money, and I would like to say that we will decrease the hours, or decrease the price for each hour, and then you see which one is better." Danny didn't even look me in the face, and I just replied, "My price is already fair, and you want to decrease something you don't pay. Really?" It's an unnecessary expense, and I want to save for our 4th child. I kind of got annoyed about it, and here I may have been the a-hole. Danny wouldn't need a babysitter if she didn't have 3 kids to take care of, and one on the way with a husband who doesn't help at all. I'm the main income of the house, so I decide what's best for my family. Okay, thanks for reminding me why I like my dead brother-in-law more, because even in the coffin, he does more than you do. That is, don't stress Danny. And I left. John sent a huge message saying that I was fired and that I will only step foot in his house with a huge apology. On the other hand, Danny talked to me and thanked me for defending her, but that it was better to apologize to him to make the situation less tense. I'm already almost hired for another job, so I don't have to babysit anymore. But I do not know. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. What stands out here is your sister thanked you for defending her, but encouraged you to apologize to him. That reeks of being held down. It's clear that he is financially aggressive to her by his words. How much deeper does it go? You need to have some talks with your sister and see if she will tell you. Not sure if you're the a-hole, but this guy sounds controlling, and I'm worried that, at a minimum, your sister is experiencing financial aggression, whereby he controls the finances of the household, and she has no access to family resources. It often coincides with emotional aggression. I'd find a way to talk to your sister alone, outside of her house about this, and let her know you're always available to talk. Apologizing may be helpful to her, and I'd consider it, even if you don't mean it. Not the a-hole. Hope she leaves him. As you said, it's her money that he can't touch. So why does he think he has a say over it? He's extremely controlling. Good for you. Do not apologize. You're in the right. My literal older brother had an affair with my ex-fiancée, engaged, and married her. Now, my older brother was married at the time, arranged marriage, but I was in love and was with my ex-fiancée for 2 years approximately, engaged 5 months. My sister-in-law caught them and hell broke loose. They already had a child too. For over a year, brother was just banished from our family. He married at that time. But right after my dad fell ill and died, Mom and elder sister reconciled with him. They attended the naming ceremony of his new child and also remarried them with proper ceremony. I was totally against it. I was and am still not over this. I consider this relationship breaker and consider supporting that affair as an act of betrayal. I told this to my mom and sis that our relationship would deteriorate. Later they went ahead with their support to my brother. I didn't create any drama, even talked with my brother. Didn't accept his apologies though, but attended his remarriage and naming ceremony. Left the city in a month and never returned to that home for about 6 years now. I was not alone though, had the support of a lot of relatives and cousins. Also, ex-sister-in-law. The whole father side of the family supports me. I only occasionally talked with mom and sis, just small calls or dates here and there. I was always cold. Never spoke a word with my brother though. At this time, I fell in love again, and after 5 years of dating, now decided to get married. Back here in India, we require parents for us to be married. Girl parents never agree to marriage if the boy comes alone, but uncle and aunt played that role, and they didn't even inform my mother or sis. The news of our engagement anyway went to them. My mom and sis arrived at my house crying and blamed me for not involving them. The old carrying me for 9 months and raising me was told. Mom said that I am punishing them for having a relationship with her first child. She told me that even my dad died without his first son, and I should be considerate to her as she is just acting on her feelings. I told them it is not me but my brother's affair that leads to this. I told her she will be in my marriage, but after that, I'm not sure if she would play a part in my life as a mother or grandmother to my child. What do you think? Not the a-hole. I fully understand why you don't want your future children playing with your brother's children. Why you don't wish to play happy families with your brother. What they did was the ultimate betrayal, and your mother has supported them before yourself. Live your happy life and leave the mess behind. Not the a-hole. She chose to support the child who caused harm to another child. She made her bed, and now she gets to lie in it. Not the a-hole. And if your aunt and uncle helped you out by representing your family, it sounds like you have some support from people who matter. Our culture puts a lot of emphasis on rug sweeping to keep things outwardly pleasant, but you don't have to buy into that. I'm guessing your mom figured you'd cave eventually, so she could have both her kids in her life. But that's not your fault, and it's not you who disrupted the family in an irreversible way. Hi guys, I'm at my wit's end. My wedding is in 4 months and would really appreciate some feedback. My fiance, 34, and I, 31, met at graduate school and have been together for almost 5 years now. He does not have a good relationship with his family and has only kept minimal contact since he finished high school at 18. We both wanted to get married at court, but mother-in-law insisted on a full-fledged wedding. In her defense, she offered to pay for a chunk of it, but we are financially comfortable and so paying ourselves. But now she wants a purely Christian wedding and refuses to include any customs that are Hindu. My fiancé agrees that we should include both our traditions, so now we're doing the Hindu part the night before the actual wedding. Ever since we got engaged, she has been complaining about how I'm making my fiancé look cheap and tacky because I did not want a normal wedding ring, meaning with a diamond. After he proposed with a placeholder, my fiancé and I went ring shopping and chose our engagement and wedding rings together. But she literally keeps sending me links to more appropriate, more expensive rings because it would save the family the embarrassment on the wedding day. My first cousin is my maid of honor, and an undergrad friend is a bridesmaid. Sister-in-law, bridesmaid, wants to be the maid of honor and threatened to not attend if we didn't agree. My fiancé and his aunt had to talk down my mother and sister-in-law. I want the bridesmaids in any dress style of their choice, in my chosen color, and copper footwear. Again, in any style they feel comfortable in. Sister-in-law complained that she hated the colors and insisted we change them. We are letting her choose the dress and shoe style and buying them for her, and the whole wedding party. It shouldn't be that big a deal. It is our day, and we want it a certain way. Mother and sister-in-law have been trying to get me to push my friend out of the party, claiming her tattoos would be distracting in the photos. My fiancé and I both have tattoos, ones that would be visible. Should we not attend our wedding too? Since I refused to boot my friend out, sister-in-law is insisting her childhood friend be in the bridal party too, since it is not fair that I get to decide who should be in our wedding. Mother-in-law also wants to turn it into a black tie affair and sent out a blast to our invitees with the updated dress code and gifts worth $250 at least, since it will help recover what the family is spending on the wedding. My fiancé and I found out when one of his friends called him up to confirm. We have had to call them all up to reconfirm that they can wear anything and turn up without a gift and they would still be welcome. She also went behind our back to our wedding cake vendor to order a more traditional cake than the cupcake tower we'd ordered. Are we being unreasonable? Should we just accept what they want and move on? It's really putting my fiancé in a tough spot. Seriously, am I the a-hole? Definitely not the a-hole. It's your wedding, not theirs. If it were me, I'd set boundaries now. If they continue to push their own agenda, then they will not be attending. Hell, I'm almost petty enough to change the date and time and not tell them, so they can't mess things up further than they already have. Not the a-hole, but I can tell you why she's doing this. You let her. As soon as you conceded to have a big wedding, as opposed to the one you, the couple getting married, wanted, she won. Now, she thinks she will get whatever she wants and will tantrum when she doesn't. Why are you even discussing plans with her when your fiancé doesn't like her? Not the a-hole. Your wedding, your rules. Given all the pushback you are getting from all angles, I'd elope and tell them after the fact. As someone who got married at the courthouse, I can tell you it saved a tremendous amount of hassle and money.